Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Frank Jackson. Let me begin by saying not only is it an honor to be standing before you this afternoon, but it makes me very humble indeed. All that I am, I owe. I'm indebted to so many people that my hand will be eternally in the red. Close friends and my children, my sister Molly and her husband Keith, who offered me their home during my transition period. But if I was able to do anything in my humble efforts, it's because I've had behind, in front, and at my side a devoted, understanding, and patiently staff in the Miles of Freedom family. Mr. Richard Miles, Miss Tavia, and Mr. Henry Cephas. So it's through friends who care, through a family who's loved me, and through a God who spared me, that I'll be forever grateful. Nothing can be more tragic than for men to live in these revolutionary times and fail to achieve the new attitude and the new mental outlook that the new situation demands. One of the most greatest liabilities of both men's and women's is that too many have failed to remain awake through great periods of social and economic changes. But today, our very survival depends on our ability to stay awake, to adjust to new ideas, to remain vigilant, and to face the challenge of changes. In Washington's Irving familiar story of Rip Van Winkle, the one thing that we usually remember is that Rip slept 20 years. But there is another important point that is always overlooked. It was the sign on the end in the little town on the Hudson, from which Rip departed and scaled the mountain for his long sleep. When Rip departed to go up, the sign had a picture of King George III of England. When he came down 20 years later, the sign had a picture of George Washington. As he looked at the first president of the United States, Rip was confused, frustrated, and lost. He knew not who Washington was. So, the most amazing thing about this story is not that slept 20 years, but he slept through a revolution that would alter the course of human history. On August 6, 2015, I came back down the mountain after 33 years of incarceration. I too was confused, frustrated, and lost. I came back not only to a changed family, but a vastly changed world. In January of 2016, I called Stanley Mosey, a friend I've known for years. He told me about Miles of Freedom and the program classes they offered. I was moved by what he told me about the program and how it had helped him. So I decided to come and attend the workshop with hopes and expectation that it can help me move forward insofar as my growth and my development in a vastly changed world that I left in 1982. Miss Tavia, in her working with peoples and who can identify the potentials in certain individuals. And in that regard, she worked with me since day one. Here are some of the accomplishments that I have accomplished with her help. Tavia, on my behalf, contacted both boarding houses and apartment managements in my search to find a permanent resident. She personally contacted individuals she knew. After several phone calls, I received positive feedback. She put together a package of my work resume, and I took it to several job fairs and was given job offers. She also entered my name into a database and set me up an email account. She offered me a part-time job at the YMCA, my first in many, many years. Tavia also saw a need where I should change my direct deposit account. I was advised by her that the way I was depositing my money was not a wise way to do it, and my money was not secure. Now, all this began when I asked Tavia why I was being charged every time I called to inquire about my account. For example, today it's $700, and 2 weeks later, it's $500. She pulled up my transaction record and discovered my account was under attack. She walked me across the streets to Chase Bank and began the process of changing my direct deposit to a Chase banking account. She navigated me through filing my first income tax return. She searched and found St. Luke Church, who would do it for free, as to paying $40 or $50 to have it done. In essence, this is how Miles of Freedom and his staff has helped me, not only in my growth and development, but also reintegrating myself back into a changed and complex world. In closing, let me say, there was times and days that I stood outside and watched the noonday sun and said to myself, time is my most important element of concern. There has been so much anxiety, false promises, dashed hopes, and stillborn expectations had come and gone, until uncertainty and insecurity had somehow found residency within my heart with mistrust and resentment standing just outside my door, looking to rent a couple of rooms. It was a miracle, and by the grace of God, that my life didn't despair over what took place in my life. While I journeyed across the rough and rugged road of yesterday. So miracles do happen, and yes, they happen at the most unlikely moment and when we least expect them. Life's teachers has taught me much. To be tough enough to fight, tender enough to cry, human enough to make mistakes, but humble enough to admit them, strong enough to absorb the pain, but resilient enough to bounce back and keep on moving. Knowing that there's a brighter side somewhere. There's a spiritual song that says, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. And another one that says, I'm so glad that trouble don't last always. So may God bless you and keep you. I want to thank you for your undivided attention.